right, let's do this. So for those of you that just hopped in, this is our Toolbox Tuesdays on dispatch management. What we'll be going through today is part demo, part Q&A session for those of you that watched our videos beforehand. What we're going to be focusing on is number one, the setup of our dispatch management extension built natively into Business Central. We're going to follow that up with the schedule, track, administer process for the delivery of sales orders, purchase returns, and transfer orders. We're going to transition to the pickup side of the process with purchase orders, sales returns, and transfer orders from there. And then we're going to talk about how you can build routes into the schedule and assign drivers, whether that's using a tablet, PC, or the mobile Business Central app. So with that, everyone that's been on before knows the game plan. Let's hop into a live demo with Ben Cole, our president.
Awesome. Thank you, Grant. Can you hear me all right? Just want to make sure that we're all good for the demo. Awesome.
Yes.
So I'm going to kill that. I'll probably have to open it back up later because we're going to finish off with the PowerPoint. But like Grant said, we're going to go through a live demo today of our dispatch management tool. And I'm actually going to start with the setup just to show you how simple some of the options are. So if you just have downloaded this app from App Source, you'll have that free trial that you can test this out with. And if you come into our dispatch management setup right here, about halfway down into the administration piece, you'll see about 4 or 5 different areas that we need to set up. Now, Grant had talked about different things that we can do, right? Both drop-offs and pickups. I'm going to hyper focus on the drop-offs today since that's where we see most of the demand. So think of you're a company or you're a client who has their own trucks, you need to do your own deliveries on those sales orders. That's kind of what we're going to hyper focus on today, but you can extrapolate that out to your purchase orders and your transfer orders if you have multiple warehouses. So again, going to focus on those drop-offs of your sales orders, but the mind frame for today is going to be you've got your own trucks. Instead of shipping things out, you're going to load them up on your truck and deliver them to your customers. So as we get up here, we've got that test email address. Just pop in your email so that it sends this to you. That's kind of that override as we do testing. This default unload load times, that's going to be crucial. So I always like to call it out. I've got 15 minutes here. So as we build out our routes, we're going to have a demo today where we do 2 or 3 different customers. So we're going to have 2 or 3 different drop-offs. Not realistic, right? To just stop, literally drop it off and then keep driving, right? There's going to be some load unload time. So this kind of factors that in, right? If it takes me 30 minutes to get to my next stop, we assume that at that 45-minute mark, we're leaving for stop number 2, right? So just to build some buffer in there for your default unload load times. And then this is just, do you want to allow additional orders or stops after things have been routed and dispatched? So a simple yes or no there based on your business requirements. So next piece is key as we do our Google Map integration. So if you don't have a Google Map API key already, you can hover over here. There's a link for how to set that up. And then this is going to be key to calculating your geocodes for where things are located, the distance between different locations, and then ultimately the time it's going to take to do your deliveries and your drop-offs, right? Since it's integrating with Google Maps, this will factor in things like road conditions, traffic conditions, and the like. So definitely need to populate that because that's going to be key to making sure everything kind of works as intended today. And then some of these others are just options like, do you want to see the map in your fact box, bottom of page, both, things like that, and what you want your default zoom level to be. You can edit that if you don't like what it defaults to, and you can also zoom in further as you go throughout the demo yourself. This notifications and email content, then Grant talked a little bit about, notifying people, right? So I think about this in terms of Amazon, right? You're 10 stops away, you're 1 stop away, things like that, so that you're ready for that delivery. You can get that somebody at that front door to pick it up or sign for it if needed. So here you're just going to have yes or no. Do you want these on? So the options we have are sending an email to your customer when it's dispatched. So let's say there's 5 stops. This is going to say, hey, you've been dispatched, your stop number 3, this is your estimated time window, right? And we'll see that all today in our demo. Sending email to customer next stop. So that's kind of like that Amazon example again, hey, you're 10 stops away. Hey, you're the next stop, right? And then do you want to send the salesperson an email or the customer an email after delivery? For the customer side, that's also going to send them their receipt, maybe with the signature for who signed off and things like that, right? So again, just some additional options here that you can toggle on or off if you want to be sending those notifications, which most of our clients that are doing that are. And then down here, we just have that email content. So for the customer dispatch, hey, your order's on the way, you are stop number 5 or whatever it is. And then that's going to be the subject. And in the body, you can just say your delivery scheduled for today. It'll put the date. Order number 1234 is on its way. Your stop number 5. Your estimated delivery time is between 12 and 1, and your driver's name is Grant, let's say, right? So as we get into this, you'll see those examples and kind of trying to fulfill that whole need start to finish of doing the deliveries, but also notifying people what's going to happen on those deliveries. So next we've got these route sheets, checklists, and delivery tickets. So the route sheets is just going to show you the addresses, the boxes that need to go to those addresses, notes on the ticket, things like that. Your checklist is going to be kind of your pack slip on steroids, right? Make sure the driver's got everything that needs to be delivered. And then the delivery ticket's kind of like the pack slip that the customer is going to sign when they get everything. You can do this either as a printout and scan it back in later, or you can do this electronically. So that's it for the setup right here. Grant, if there's any questions, just shout them out at me and we can answer these as we go. Next piece is going to be up top, and then we'll jump into the actual step-by-step on the demo. So user setup, just who can administer the dispatch center, who can view it, and who can update it. The driver setup, just who are our drivers. So I just have myself in here, so I'm going to drive and drop off everything for today. You'll have your driver number linked to your user ID, also linked to your employee in Business Central. And then we can do some SMS, so you can send text messages to the driver directly out of our dispatch management tool. And then the last latitude, longitude is going to be used to identify where that truck is at. So again, not only making sure that deliveries are on time, but if something breaks down or somebody just calls in and says, hey, where's the truck at? We can kind of see where that is. So we're tracking that accordingly. Time slot setup. So this is just, you order a new coffee table or something, and they're like, do you want this delivered in the AM window, the PM window, or after hours, right? So here you're just setting those preferred time slots. So I've got AM from 8 to noon, PM from noon to 5, and then evening deliveries from 5 to 8. We can default this on the customer, and we can also add that when we do our dispatch. And then the final thing here is going to be our route setup. So some people do, just north side of town, south side of town, east, west, all that kind of stuff. You can do this by zip codes, territories, it's user defined. So you set up what your territories are, and then one truck might be, you might have 4 trucks. One goes to each territory in a day. If everything's going east today and there's no north, south, or west deliveries, you could kind of reassign all 4 trucks for the day to be do all the east deliveries just because you have extra capacity, things like that. But this is kind of just setting up the standards, and then as we get into actually dispatching our orders, you'll see where this comes in handy. So with that, I'm going to actually jump into the live demo next. So I'm going to be creating some sales orders. We're going to be dispatching those, and then we'll show you how the dispatch management tool works. Any questions yet, Grant, on the setup side? It's pretty simple and straightforward. That's kind of our goal, right? And the other big piece is directly embedding everything into Business Central. I don't know of anything else that does dispatches directly embedded into BC. So that also is a big opportunity if you're looking to keep everything directly embedded into Business Central. And the only other thing I'll call out as well is that this is one of our newer apps in the last few months. So if anybody has any additional recommendations or things you'd be think would be cool, those are always, we're always open ears to those. So definitely let us know if you see anything that you'd like, and we can have a conversation on that as well. But with that, I'm going to show you the functionality that we do have in order to drop things off. So it doesn't look like there's any questions. So I'm going to keep going. The other thing to note on this homepage, driver deliveries. So this is my driver dashboard. I don't have anything to deliver right now, but if I did, it would show up here. We'll show that as we go through the demo today. So I'm going to start just out of box sales orders. We need to start creating some sales orders, and then instead of shipping them, we're going to dispatch them. So let's just create 2 sales orders so we can make a little route, and we can show how that routes on our map. So I'm in Dallas, so I set up a few different customers in Dallas so that we can drive through the Metroplex and drop things off today. So let's come down here. Let's just add an item to this person. Those are some pop-up notes for advanced notifications tool. If you haven't checked that out, I would highly recommend doing so. A lot of good functionality there. So sales order, we've got one. So far, I'm just going to go ahead and release this. That's been released. And then I would come up here and create and edit the dispatch. So again, there's probably some lag time between this, right? I'm just doing it because it's the demo, right? Typically, you know, you've got to make sure that you have everything and that the orders are ready to go, but let's just assume that it's ready to go. We can now see that our requested delivery date pops open here. Maybe the customer requested an AM time slot. It's defaulting our route to the east route because I've already had that customer defined because it's on the east side of town, let's say. I actually think this one's on the west side of town, but nonetheless, the route's defaulted to east because I put that in there. And then it's going to show you the orders that are on this dispatch. So the other thing to note, we had some toggles. You can add additional orders for the same customer to this dispatch, right, before it's dispatched. And those would all show here. You're going to get the primary, which is the first order that was placed on the dispatch, and then everything else subsequent. So you could have 5 or 6 orders maybe that are being delivered to the same place. So that's going to be our first order. You can see now that the status changes to available for delivery. This is actually through our distribution control center tool, which these play very nicely together. You don't have to use distribution control to use dispatch and vice versa, but I would say using both of them together gives a lot more power to both of them kind of being able to be utilized at the same time. That distribution control center is just another one of our tools to help kind of streamline the warehouse management in either the shipping or the deliveries of your sales orders. So at this point, this one is available for delivery. Nothing has happened yet. It's just kind of, we're just staging it, right? So from a distribution control center standpoint, we can go ahead and, you know, pick these items, put them in the boxes, and they're ready for that delivery. So I'm going to create another sales order just so we can create a route. Otherwise, that one would be kind of boring. It would just be one package that we're delivering and coming back to our warehouse. So let's create another sales order here on Business Central. There we go. All right, I did the Fort Worth one first, so let's do the Arlington. Let's try that again. All right, just need to get another sales order added here, then we can route it. Go out and come back in real quick. New sales order. All right, it really doesn't want to let me pick this my customer here. Let's try to get that on here. Arlington. All right, I'm going to refresh real quick because I need to get this guy on here for my dispatch. Any questions, Grant, while this loads up? I don't see any in the chat so far.
Nothing coming on this end, Ben, but while you're resetting up that sales order for everyone in the chat box, we do have a 30-day free trial of our dispatch management tool as well on AppSource. So if you'd like to download that, we have that in there, as well as our product guide, which will give you a fit gap analysis of our dispatch management tool. Ben, we did actually get a question that came into, can a truck be an outside vendor and not an employee?
We haven't had any situations there like that, but I don't see why not, right? It would just be, it would be kind of like a dedicated third-party 1099 driver or something like that. Is that what you're thinking? I don't see any issues with that. It's pretty much just anything besides shipping your own stuff, right? So if you're not sending it to FedEx or UPS and you want somebody to actually physically pick it up, I would probably add them as an employee record in Business Central, just because that's the way that they'll interface with the tool. But in terms of like if they're W-2 or 1099 or a vendor, it would just be more so from the setup rather than technically like how you pay them or how they're employed. So really, it just would all come down to the setup. So I would say yes, we can do that. All right. The other thing here. All right, now that my customer is cooperating with me, We'll go ahead and add in another item here. Send that out of our Dallas warehouse, and we'll be dropping off both of these. So again, process would work very similarly here. Let's just go ahead and release that order. You can see again, distribution control center is releasing that to the warehouse. Process is still open. I'm going to create and edit my dispatch. Are you sure you want to create the dispatch? I'm going to click yes. I'm going to request that AM time slot again, and we'll do east so we can put these both on the same truck. And again, this one has one order. So at this point, it is now again available for delivery. And at this point, again, everything so far has just been pretty much out of box sales orders. At this point now is when we'd go to our dispatch control center. All right. So now in the dispatch control center, you can see I've done some of these other ones on other demos, but right now these are the two that we just created. So you'll notice that a driver has not been assigned. The status is still unassigned. It gives you kind of the requested time slot, the sales order that came from, the address. There's the trip number is blank because we haven't created a trip yet. There's no distances calculated and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of the starting point. And as we go through it, you'd come up to this process tab. And this is where everything will start to get added, as well as some of those signatures you can see here, so that we can all do through the mobile app. So the first thing to do is assign a driver. So I'm going to take those two. I'm going to assign the driver. Just say Ben's going to drive that, right? So part one is done. We see that the driver number is there and that the status has been updated to assigned. The next piece that we need to do is create a trip. That's going to create a trip number and kind of group these all up. So create trip, nice and easy, 10021. If you needed to cancel the trip or monitor the trip, take a look at the trip, things like that, you can do so here. The next piece we're going to do is actually calculate the trip so we can see kind of how far it is, how long it's going to take, various distances, which stop will be number one versus number two. Again, it's going to try to take the most efficient route based on that Google Map setup. So at this point, we can go ahead and calculate that trip. It's been routed now from a status standpoint. And let's see what else we've got here. Stops 1 and 2. We've got the different distances routed on 11/14 for today's date. And so far now we've assigned the driver, created the trip, calculated the trip. And the next piece we can do is actually go ahead and dispatch the trip. So at this point now, the trip has been dispatched and everything would be on your mobile app if we come back, or on your tablet if you come back to this front page and I just do a quick refresh. So again, this is kind of my dashboard where I would go to see my deliveries. I can come in here now and go, okay, stop 1. We've got the address information. I can show that on the map. When I get there, I can take a picture, proof of delivery, kind of again, use that Amazon example. They drop the package at your door. They take a picture of it. If you need to get a signature, you can do so here. Let's jump back into the dispatch management control center real quick. So again, from an administrative standpoint, if I'm looking at this, let's see, come up to process, go to the Google Maps. So what this is going to do is this is actually going to show your route. So here you can see we start at 5602, we go to 8915, we go to 1516, and then we come back to 5602, which is our warehouse location. So you can just see here, we take it down I-30. It's going to take an hour and 21 minutes. We have our first stop and our second stop, and then we just hop back on the highway and drive back to the warehouse, right? So this is what, again, I'm on my computer, but I'm going to do an overlay of the actual cell phone view in one of our other demo videos of kind of our official product videos. So I would highly recommend checking that out. But again, you can do this all from your mobile device as well, since most likely the driver's not going to have a computer, right? They're going to have a tablet or a phone or something like that. So that's kind of the management view, the high level, right? And then the next piece would be the actual driver in the field that's going out and delivering these. So they'd come in here, check out stop number 1. They would map to it. When they get there, they can attach their picture or get the signature. I don't have my phone right now, so I'm just going to do the signature piece. So I'm going to do get signature. I can just come in here and put my initials, something like that, save that out here, and then enter the signee name, right? Because signatures a lot of the times aren't legible. and then we can complete it, right? So this is going to say it's been delivered or picked up. You can also say maybe that the customer or vendor wasn't there, right? Sometimes you go to deliver things and you can't because you need a signature. Maybe there were errors with the items, right? The customer looked at the box and they said, nope, this is not the right piece. You can do that and it's going to come back. And then also if there were any returns. So I'm just going to do delivered, picked up. Just going to run through things, and now it disappears off my driver deliveries because that one has been complete, right? From a management standpoint, if we come back into our dispatch control center, we can take a look at this. We now see that that one's status has been updated to delivered. This one is still being dispatched and has not been delivered yet. We come over here to the right. We can also see that that signature image has now been attached. So we have the proof there. And we also see who signed for it. And then the next piece would be to come in here and do the final one. Let me also, while I do this, I should have gotten some emails right along the way. We did some setup there. So let's take a look at a few of these. Let me drag them over. So the first one I got, and again, this would be assuming that I'm the customer, but I put my email on everything. So everything's coming to me. So ERP Connect is on their way. You are stop number 1. Your delivery is scheduled today for 10:14. This is your order number, your stop number 1. Your estimated delivery time is 11:50 to 12:50, right? I put an hour window in there in my setup. We can go take a look at that one again. And then your driver's name is Ben, right? So it's 11:22 right now. So this 11:50 is just, again, based on those traffic conditions and that map. That's how long it's going to take based on when this was dispatched. And we had a 60-minute kind of wiggle room in there in order to estimate those delivery times. So that's one of the emails that I got. And then the other email that I got was, again, after I delivered it. I just put a basic email in there. You can kind of beef it up in the templates, but hey, your delivery's been completed. Come back up here, open up this attachment. This is where I mentioned they'd get that signed receipt. So again, if I come in here, come on, pull that all the way over. We can see here what was delivered. One was ordered, one was delivered. I signed for it, my printed name, BC, the employee that delivered it, and the date, time, signed, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of your proof right there, right? Let's jump back in here. All right, so driver sign off for order number 2. Again, we can attach a picture, we can get that signature. Maybe this one's a real scribble. And I'll say my signing name was Ben Cole. Can complete that, deliver it, pick it up. All right, so that is done, right? Now my driver can head back to the warehouse because all their deliveries are done. And you can do multiple a day, right? You could come back, that only took an hour or so. They can come back now and deliver something else if they need to, if they've got additional dispatches towards the end of the day there. So let's come back into the dispatch management. And now if we look at both of these, we can see the orders. We can see that both have been delivered. Come over to the right here. We can see the dates it was dispatched on and delivered on, what dispatch number it was, the signature image, who it was signed by, all that good stuff. Let's see if there's anything else here that I missed. Don't believe so. That should be good. And also to note, when it's doing those deliveries and all that kind of stuff, it's also at that point posting the shipment and the invoice, because if you think about it, right, we're not wanting to post that, quote unquote shipment and the invoice until everything's been delivered, because we're still in possession and ownership of it. If you were to post that before, it could cause issues if things aren't delivered and they just sit in your warehouse and they've already hit your income statement and balance sheet and things like that. So in terms of the functionality at a high level, that was kind of the focus for today. We are working on a visual scheduler as well. That is almost complete. So that'll help kind of map out that Gantt chart of who's where and what trucks are delivering what. So that should be done in the next week or so. I'll have a video posted on YouTube about that as well once that's been finished. But again, high level start to finish, that is kind of the nuts and bolts of what dispatch management is meant for. Grant, we can answer some more questions, and I'll also pop that PowerPoint back open so that you can finish it out.
Let's do it, Ben. So we got a few in the chat. Number 1,
Yep.
I know you may have touched on this a little bit earlier, but does dispatch management require any other apps to optimize the workflow, like Distribution Control Center?
It doesn't require any. I would say that it does make the process flow a little bit easier for users when they have both tools. And kind of one of the beauties that, Grant, I'm sure you'll talk about here as you finish out the slides when we get to pricing and all that kind of stuff, is that our unlimited bundle, you get everything. We kind of try to price it transparently like that so that you don't have to add cost every time you want to add an app. So the bundle that most people are buying is just our unlimited bundle that gets you everything. So it would get you our dispatch management plus our distribution control. Again, it's not a necessity that you have to have both, but I would say most people see the most benefit from when they have complementary tools in order to kind of streamline all the process, right? Like why just streamline one process and not the other? There is a lot of power, I would say, to doing both at the same time, but not saying you have to buy both. So you can do it either way.
Beautiful. Question 2 coming at you. Could the driver add any ad hoc notes at the drop-off screen?
I don't believe so right now, but we can definitely add something in there in order to add some additional drop-off notes. I think that's a good idea.
And third question coming at you. What if signature is required? What happens then?
Yep. So there's the signature piece on the drop off. So at that point, you just want to make sure that they sign as they deliver, and if not, we have those other options where the customer's not there, right? And you can leave the stuff on the truck if it does require the signature. So all those signatures should be captured. I did it on the computer today, but you can do that from the mobile devices as well, and the tablets.
Beautiful. I think that's all we have on the question side, Ben. So for everyone on the call, let's finish this one off. So the pricing for our dispatch management tool in 2023 is $1,200 a year. That is per tenant, which means you can have unlimited companies and users tied to that specifically. Like Ben said, if you do want to marry dispatch management with a few other of our tools like advanced notifications or distribution control center, we do have our unlimited bundle, which is all 28 of our extensions, and that is $3,600 a year USD. What we'll be talking about in episode 10, coming up on December 5th, is our dashboard bundle. Think of this as everything you could possibly want for out-of-the-box Business Central reporting on the financial side, sales side, warehouse side, as well as specific insights on customers, vendors, and items. So if you want to check that one out, we'll be sending out the invite in a couple of weeks. Hope everyone has a good holiday if you're in the US as well. And Ben, I think that's a great place to stop unless anyone has any other questions.
Awesome. I think so as well. I'll stick around for a few more minutes in case there are, but we really appreciate everybody tuning in again today for another Toolbox Tuesday. And we'll talk to everybody in a few weeks for our dashboard toolbox.
Ooh, excellent question coming from the group as well. We will pass that link along in our follow-up with the recording of our dispatch management as well. Thanks, Carol.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.